He takes over the rotating presidency of the Council of the EU for the next 6 months. The Irish ambassador to India, Kevin Kelly, described India as one of the most important strategic partners of Europe. Ambassador Kelly was speaking at the Press Club of India at an event to mark the inauguration of Irish presidency of the Council of the European Union. Listen in.
I'm being joined at this point of time by the Irish ambassador to India, Your Excellency Kevin Kelly. Thank you for speaking to us on NewsX. Congratulations for taking over the presidency of the European Council. How do you see India and EU relations growing, particularly with regards to the free trade agreement? Prime Minister Narendra Modi had that trilateral with the EU Commission President and the EU Council President. How do you see the implementation, and how soon do you think this is finally going to be rolled out?
So we're very hopeful that within the lifetime of our presidency, within the next 6 months, that we will see this mother of all trade deals finally being signed by the principals of both sides. And I think the reason that we're hopeful of that is that both sides, both President von der Leyen and Prime Minister Modi, have set very clear expectations to finalize this. So my hope would be that this agreement will be signed before the end of the year, with a view towards it coming into effect by the 1st of January. We're very hopeful for this agreement. I think it's going to open up huge opportunities and possibilities for both sides, and it can be a real win-win. It's about trade, of course. It's about increasing the level of trade, but it's broader than that. It's about mobility of people. It's about exchanging ideas and innovation. There's going to be real possibilities to expand our partnership into a whole range of new set of horizons.
I also want to speak to you about the free and open navigation, whether we talk about the West Asia war and the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, but more importantly in the Indo-Pacific, where today the Japanese Prime Minister is over here. She has focused on Quad and the free and open maritime spaces in the Indo-Pacific region. What role can European Union play in working with India to ensure free navigation and no coercion from aggressive sides?
Well, I think that one of the powers of the European Union is that even though we're a very large economy, we're the third largest economy in the world, perhaps we haven't been as effective as we could be in terms of having our voice heard on the global stage. I think that we have traditionally played a very constructive role when it comes to peace and when it comes to resolving conflict, but also when it comes to maritime safety and security. I think, as has been said earlier today, for many countries we took for granted maritime movement, freedom of movement, and we have only become, through this conflict, aware of the real vulnerabilities that exist. I think what the European Union can do is make sure that we use our voice in our discussion with partners and allies to make sure that the peace agreement holds, that we don't see any return to conflict, and that we start building a more sustainable form of governance within Iran that respects the views of its people, and that we have hopefully moved to a more positive space.
You spoke about migration and exchange of culture and people-to-people connect between Ireland and India. There has been an agreement that has been signed between EU and India when it comes to mobility and migration of people, of skilled labor, semi-skilled labor, students as well. How can you help in smoothening this process in terms of increasing the number of Indians traveling to Europe and to Ireland as well?
Yeah, well, what we've seen in Ireland is a very positive story, in fact, because we have had a very high level of legal, orderly migration of Indians coming to Ireland, meeting real skill gaps in our economy. So it's a real success story. We now have well over 100,000 Indians living in Ireland, who many of them came as students, some came as professionals working in a whole range of sectors. So I think the beauty of this new free trade agreement and the ancillary agreements around mobility, it's around trying to ensure orderly migration. And I think that's in the interest of the European Union as much as it is of India. So I think that we're seeing new offices being established in Delhi and in Brussels that are going to help facilitate this. In Ireland, even though we don't have yet a formal migration or mobility agreement with India, we've seen huge level of movement, and in a very positive way that's contributed towards our economy and our society. And I would see that that can only grow. I think this free trade agreement is about building trust between both sides.
Your Excellency Kevin Kelly, thank you very much for speaking to us.
Thank
And
you so much.
congratulations once again for the
Thank you.
presidency of the EU. I'm currently being joined by the EU ambassador to India, Hervé Delphin. Thank you very much for speaking to me on NewsX. Your tenure is coming to an end. If you could just give me in a few points what have been the key highlights of the 3 years that you've spent over here as the EU ambassador in India.
I mean, it has been a full plate, but in a positive sense. We had an unprecedented visit of the College of the Commission early 2025, and we also had the preparation to the historic India-EU summit here earlier this year with the two presidents as chief guest and state guest, and we had the conclusion of the FTA, the signing of a security and defense partnership, an agreement on mobility. So it has all come together. So I'm certainly a happy ambassador in terms of what has been achieved in the past years. But I think if you look at the larger picture, I think it's somehow the convergence of the strategic interest of EU and India coming together, the sense that we can advance as trusted partner in deepening our economic, our technology and security cooperation. So it's a very substantial agenda that we firmed up. And now, of course, the focus is on delivering and ensuring that everything that has been signed up will be actually executed.
You know, everybody is focusing on the India-EU free trade agreement. It was signed in January this year. When can we, is there a specific date or a month? Is it going to happen in 2026 itself, that there is going to be the implementation that is going to roll out?
So first, I mean, where we are now is that the negotiation have been concluded. So the two sides, the two negotiators have concluded the negotiation, considered, so the text is frozen, as we say. What we are doing is the legal vetting. So the legal experts are ensuring the consistency of the text. There are some details in the annexes on the management of quotas that have to be worked out. So this is what is happening at present. There is a team of India Ministry of Commerce in Brussels this week to advance on that track. So they have to do their job. What will come after will be on the EU side. We will have an additional step, which is the consultation of the European Parliament that has to give its consent. But from the moment we have concluded this legal vetting, legal scrubbing, it will be ready for signature. And then we consult the Parliament, and then it will enter into force. So if you put all these elements together, I think confidently we could look at the end of the year for the signing and early 2027 for the entry into force.
And finally, talking about the Indo-Pacific region, and there has been a lot of effort that has been made by India, by other partners in the Indo-Pacific region. The Japanese Prime Minister is also over here talking about the free and open Indo-Pacific. What role can European Union play in working with India? Of course, there is a Quad, there is an AUKUS, but how else can European Union work in terms of its primary role in ensuring freedom of navigation, not just in West Asia region, but also in the Indo-Pacific?
I mean, first, the principle of free and open Indian Ocean or Indo-Pacific regions is certainly central to the way the EU is seeing the situation in the region. And it's not just about the West Asia or the Strait of Hormuz. I think it applies to the whole geography. I'd like to recall that the EU articulated its position and its strategy for the Indo-Pacific in 2021. And it's reflective of how much we are investing in the region. Most of our trading partners are in the region. We have signed up FTAs with Australia recently, with Indonesia, with Vietnam, and we are negotiating also with the Philippines, with Thailand, with Malaysia. So you can see we have a lot of equities, a lot of investment here, a lot of foreign direct investment in this region. So it's very critical for the EU. And if you consider that about 30 to 40% of EU trade flow through the two seas from the Pacific through the Indian Ocean, then you can realize why this region is important. So we will not put necessarily the same amount of military and assets, because the EU itself is not providing hard power. We do have Navy operations in the Northwest Indian Ocean to fight piracy and illegal trafficking. But our member states and our approach has always been to try to bring stability, to ensure that the law of the sea is respected. And this, I don't think we will shy away and move away from that objective.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for talking to me, and wishing you all the best for your future endeavors when you go to Indonesia, where your next posting is.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Will be also an exciting post. Thank you.